Alright, what's up yins guys? Time for another video. And I was watching one of my newer favorite YouTubers. This one called The Angry Guy. He's similar to another dude I listen to about social political rants or whatever, and one of the guys who show themselves playing video games while they're doing the talks. I mean, that would be a good idea if I did that someday. But anyway, this particular subject matter, I have the perfect excuse to talk about this subject about. You know what? I don't know what the hell is with these kids on TikTok these days. But all I remember is fucking 30 years ago. I remember 30 years ago when never got a haircut back then, and having a job above minimum wage, walking around like I'm shit, pissing off my haters or whatever. And it was a big deal in Western Pennsylvania to have a job above minimum wage without getting a haircut. And it was a big deal if you left a $5 tip. People looked at you like you were either crazy or a professional criminal or a drug dealer. And it's like, now you hear about these kids on TikTok, YouTubers critiquing videos of these kids on TikTok, wanting, like, I don't know, $20, $30 tips or whatever the hell. I'm like, what the fuck? But at the same time, you know, not to hate on anybody, but yeah, now I'm just basically talking about like an old man saying, yeah, I remember when. Did that someday. But anyway, this particular subject matter, I have the perfect excuse to talk about this subject about food service or waiters or waitresses giving tips, an interesting story. And this one, for my lurkers and my haters, this is to describe myself now with long gray hair as opposed to when my hair wasn't as gray and long. And the reason why I talk this, any of you guys who were my likers or haters when I talked about videos about gang stalking, and it dovetails into that because unlike everybody else's videos about gang stalking as a conspiracy theory, it was back then, younger age, hey, you didn't get a haircut, everybody's looking to try to have you thrown in jail for something, and I made my videos to make fun of that shit. The kind of people I'm talking about now. And alright, getting on with it about this YouTuber is talking about don't leave people tips, they don't deserve it, they don't appreciate it, or whatever reason. Some are nicer than others. But I'm just going to say this with my attitude about it that shapes for my likers and haters and lurkers on this thing, okay? Which shapes my attitude, even though I'm a grown-ass man now, 52 years old, but a similar attitude. You know how some of your attitude you've outgrown a little bit, but there's some of it as a grown-ass man that you still have a same attitude politically. Some shit you shedded and some stuff you modified even more. Alright, I'm getting on, but it's because this gets me to laugh. My attitude toward tipping, you know, very mixed. I can see what a lot of people are saying. I'm not saying don't give people tips. Me and my partner give tips, you know. I mean, especially now after the pandemic, you've had food delivery service, you know, people were nice, you give them a little something. But, you know, there was this YouTuber, The Angry Guy, was talking about some of them, how Gen Z, they're entitled to more tips, all right. But not to tell my life story, my attitude toward tips was a little bit different. And if any of my haters or lurkers would pay attention to this, my attitude toward tips, okay, yeah, I'm a little balder or grayer now, but the attitude is same but better. But all right, my attitude was, I remember back when I was in my 20s in Western Pennsylvania, it was a big deal if you managed to land some kind of industrial job that was above minimum wage. And when you do, you be strutting around like that wrestler, $1 Million Man, strutting in the restaurants, you know what I mean? And yeah, you know, well, a grin or a smirk on your face. A lot of times you just had some mundane job. If you didn't work in whatever it was, Walmart or Kmart when it was still around, or, you know, work for the borough, you went through a temporary service and you were lucky it was on assignment and you landed a job with the company. You know, sometimes you work for them for a couple of years. You know, that was how you would get into an industrial job, and you'd take the wage that they pay you. But in the meantime, you know, when you're still living with your parents, you started out, some of us started out that way, and you get picked up and on with the company. And I had this, and I were to have this job for like 10 years. You know, of course you'd get arrogant too, and people would be praying real hard for you to fail. But anyway, you know what, my situation, and any of you haters out there too, which I would try to play ball with you there too. And I know some of you guys out there may have rode bike or walk or lived in an environment where, okay, maybe you do want a car, but there's no place to park. In my situation, not only did I rebel and didn't get a car, I just felt richer without paying car insurance, because I lived down about 2 miles of the industrial park, and I lived across the street from a restaurant, which it was way easier. And everybody that, you know, restaurant had a parking lot, but everybody, even the people with the projects were 2 blocks down this way. The nice houses were down this way, and everybody bitched because the restaurant took off all the parking. So, not to make that relevant, even people, you know, that my apartment building was a revolving door, because people that made more money than I ever seen, they bitched that they couldn't even fucking park when they got home, you know what I mean, because they all took the spaces and everything else. And I didn't give a shit, you know. It was an advantage to me, because people that I would want to avoid, even on family members, that discouraged them from trying to come over and bug me. But anyway, so I didn't pay car insurance. It was just easier. And I say this because, hey, it may be some of my lurkers or haters to try to play ball. Hey, maybe you might be one or two over there. Maybe you do own a car, but pain in the ass, you may have to go somewhere to pain in it. But anyway, yeah, I felt richer, especially after I got out of minimum wage, you know, and for many years. So, okay, if you got this far in the video with the rambling, the thing about tips that I'm laughing about, the reason why I'm laughing about these YouTube videos is not that if you got this far in this video, what's my point? In Western Pennsylvania, when you land a job above minimum wage, it was a big deal. When you had people live down the street this way and this way, they represent different lifestyles and political affiliations. There was certain kind of different people. Whoa, you managed to land a job out of minimum wage without getting a haircut. Oh man, you whooping money out and leaving tips. Yeah, he must be some professional criminal or a drug dealer or something. You know what I mean? And but anyway, in Western Pennsylvania, in my area, it was a big deal to leave a $5 tip. People eat next to you. Well, my brother, the one he eventually married, he met her. He met her. She was a waitress when they first started dating, and he left $5 tips too. But in Western Pennsylvania, when it was a big deal to get a job out of minimum wage, you know, because in decades before, all the steel mills shut down, but you get a job in an industrial park, that was your way out of a job in minimum wage if you didn't go to college. And there was a point where somebody like me, without getting a haircut, was actually hated and detested with money in a pocket, leaving $5 tips, because there were people going to college for 6-8 years, paying on student loans, and it didn't get them the job that they... Yeah, back before YouTube came into being, there was no YouTube, didn't have no computer. That's where I was. There was, you know, internet was just starting to become a subject. But anyway, yeah, the issue of that being relevant, because, yeah, anyway, in my area like that, you were looked at like you were they looked at you like you were crazy for leaving a $5 tip. And the ones that didn't look at you like you were crazy, and you, okay, had a job above minimum wage and didn't get a haircut, oh, he left $5 tip. He must be walking around strutting right in the restaurant like, you know, he's $1 million man, you know, and it's like, oh, he must be a professional criminal or drug dealer. There was a lot of, like, the older, more conservative people that would be like that. Oh, he must be selling marijuana. You know, there were some of them people, the older people now, they're like, those are those days are gone. Some of them died off, and the older people now don't even act like that anymore. It's like those kind of people, you know, the strict Baptist and Catholic that way. Man, it was a big crime, you know, to land a good paying job without getting a haircut and leaving a $5 tip. It was like, oh my God. But, you know, now I'm looking at things, you know, we're on this YouTube, and it's like the economy's changing, everything's changing politically. I mean, and the people looking at me like I wish I would fail now because I don't get a haircut, even my hair is long and grayer now. Try to tell the followers of the YouTuber Sticks Hexenhammer 666 that, you know what I mean? He younger than me, and my beliefs are slightly different than him. I share his stuff. I like his politics, and I share out of spite. But if I was even remotely on his show, I'd see how everything changed politically. You can get crazy, but I'm not going to go on and on about this in video. But it was like what people want for tips now. I'm not judging them either way. It depends who they are. The only reason I made this video is because, yeah, there was that one YouTuber put some of these people that are going on TikTok and being angry about people leaving hardly any tips or whatever. And they want this bigger tip. I'm not hating on them. I think some of the ones that YouTuber showed were a little bit crazy and cringy. But anyway, I say did all this talking in this video just so I can say some person that's old and gray now and still never got a haircut. I made this video just to laugh about any of those people so I can say the old man thing. Oh, I remember back in my day, giving a $5 tip was a big deal, and everybody looked at you like you were a professional criminal if you didn't get a haircut. Oh, where's he getting all this money? He ain't, I heard he landed a job in an industrial park somewhere. It must be one of them warehouses like you see on the cop shows where it's a cover for a marijuana selling operation. Yeah, I could be a stand-up comedian like this, going on the stage with long gray hair, but I am sure there's shit like that out there. As far as jokes that have been done to death, but you know, I'd feel like I'd be like Henry Rollins or George Carlin, but with longer, grayer hair and making jokes that, even though you didn't see every single comedian on TV, I'm sure a lot of jokes that I'd be telling you long-haired hippie jokes that would be making fun of myself, that would just because I didn't hear them all, I'm sure that people would be going boo hiss because they probably heard them all, and I'm thinking they're new jokes. I'm not living under a rock. I just saying this without laughing. I'm not to ramble like I'm doing, but yes, it's the truth. I lived in days where, I can't say it enough, giving a $5 tip was a big deal in my area in western Pennsylvania. And if you had a job above minimum wage without getting a haircut, it was like, oh my God, he leaving a $5 tip and he got money in his wallet and no credit cards and always cash. Oh my God. And yeah, he must be some kind of like heavy, some kind of and meanwhile, I lived in, like I said, to finish up this video, the projects were down here, the nice houses were down there. One side would be like, ew, he must be some professional criminal drug dealer. And then the other side is pissed because I don't even move in the circles or buy any weed from their friends. And they have some kind of shit. So if you got this far in this video, this is the kind of shit that I talked about that appeals to me, even if when I talked about videos about gang stalking and was back in my younger days, everybody was, man, if they weren't on one more conservative side thinking that I should be thrown in a cage and having my belongings confiscated, thrown in jail, oh my God, being above minimum wage and without getting a haircut, the other side, yeah, to get my wannabe gangster friends and beat his ass because he don't buy any of our weed and he might be racist, he might be this or that, you know. bunch of shit that they be saying. You're scum in whatever different slang and profanities of the day, and I could go on about that, but that was my world back when I was in my 20s. It was a big deal to leave a $5 tip, and people of different sides of the tracks give you dirty ass looks. Some black, some white, and there were some people that were black, some white that worked next to you that were your friends, and people you went restaurants next to. Some of you were friends and that, and I mean, it was crazy. Now these kids are bitching that they want like what, $20 or $30 tip. You know what I mean? I mean, that would be fine if you worked in a place where these like ultra rich people, you had to dress up to even, you know, be a waiter there or whatever in a really fancy ass restaurant or something. But yeah, it was like, you know, damn crazy. I thought I was rich as hell when I cleared $1,400 every 2 weeks, working an industrial job, working 10-hour days and working Saturdays and shit, which a lot of times you didn't feel like doing, but you were happier doing it because, yeah, you were able to pay your rent and plus spend it on somebody that looks like me. It was like when I would do not drive a car and pay car insurance and walk around like I'm rich, and having a fancy stereo was like having a Cadillac and a leather jacket, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But yeah, but like I said, to end this, any of my haters or lurkers, maybe you can play ball about that, because maybe you, depends if you live in some city, maybe even if you don't like me and you're looking at me in this video like with some look on your face, but maybe some of you ride bike, maybe you live somewhere, some city where you'd like to have a car, but you'd be stuck in traffic. It costs you more in aggravation. I'm saying even my likers or haters, it depends on your circumstance of where you live, you know, convenience wise, and I would try to play ball that way. Hey, even your likers and haters, you may have went through financial struggles, temporary ones, getting laid off, unemployed, and all kind of shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, we all had our moments, but you know, hell, you know.